Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us to take a look at Seamless Work-Based Learning, a new tool designed to help you manage your work-based learning and advisory board activities. I'm your host, Brett Pulowski, with the National Center for College and Career Transitions. Before we get started, I wanted to spend a moment on a few technical notes. There are two options for sound, computer speakers and telephone. You can use the button on the right to switch if you need to. We have all participants on mute in order to minimize background noise. And finally, we will have a question and answer period at the end of the session. So please feel free to type in your questions into the questions field on the right of your screen as we go. Before we get into the walkthrough, let me start by sharing a bit of background on the company behind Seamless and the development of the product. Seamless Work-Based Learning was developed by the National Center for College and Career Transitions, an organization that I co-founded with my partner, Hans Meter. Our focus since launch has been on career-connected learning, which is built into our mission statement: every learner with a dream and a plan, and every community with a capable and ready workforce. Over the past several years, we've pursued that mission by producing resources like Hans's latest book, The Power and Promise of Pathways, as well as professional development, community coaching, and technical assistance to states, districts, and others. My role within C3T has always been focused on employer engagement. In fact, I've been working in this field for about 20 years now, which has included consulting, training, and the development of several resources. I was the lead author of the Employer Engagement Toolkit, co-authored Building Advisory Boards That Matter with my partner Hans, and have written guides for a number of state departments of education on advisory boards, employer engagement, registered apprenticeships, and other topics. And I mention all that just to note that I have a deep commitment to work-based learning. And as the lead developer of Seamless, I'm committed to make it the resource that I know practitioners need in order to do the best job that they can. Seamless Work-Based Learning is intended to serve as your virtual assistant in order to make work-based learning as easy and as fast as possible. Work-based learning is an incredibly powerful strategy for student engagement and preparation, but the reality is that it's time-intensive. It can be difficult to manage, and there's not a lot of information out there on how to do it well. Seamless was created to change that. Our goal with Seamless is to help you find new partners, to manage the partners that you already have, to set up and manage work-based learning experiences, to run a strong advisory board, and to easily keep track of your work-based learning activity. Seamless Work-Based Learning has been in development for the past several months. It launched in March and will be followed quickly by Phase 2 in August. The product is fully functional now, but our Phase 2 offers a great deal of additional features, such as being able to invite business partners and students into activities. And we'll explain those differences as we go through the demo. So why sign up now versus waiting until August? Well, because you won't lose anything by signing up early. We're offering people who sign up early up to 3 free months added to their annual term. And for those who sign up before June 1st, you'll get 10% off the price as well. And we'll go through the specifics of pricing and these incentives at the end. So let's open up Seamless and take a look. So there are actually two portals into Seamless. What we're looking at here is the school administrator dashboard, which is also what your district administrators will use. We're actually going to be spending a lot of our time today in the educator portal. So I'm going to switch over to the educator console. And before we start, I should also note that while we're looking at this through a computer, Seamless is a browser-based system, which means you can do all of this on your phone as well, or your iPad, or any device where you have an internet browser. There's nothing to download. Everything is online. In fact, you could pull this up on your phone or your iPad while you're sitting in a partner's office and set activities and look at reports together if you wanted to. So we'll start by taking a quick tour of the educator dashboard. You can see that we have key metrics here across the top. We have an activities calendar that we can open up, and we see that we have activities that are color-coded by type of activity. So your reds are going to be your guest speakers, your yellows are your advisory board meetings, and so on. We have our list of partners, and these are my personal partners as an educator. And looking down the left-hand navigation, you can see that we have areas for employer search, which is a place for educators to search for new partners. We have my partners, which is where I, as an educator, will manage my own personal list of industry partners. We have partner activities, which is where we set up and manage all of our work-based learning initiatives. There's a general resources area where we have a complete suite of tools and templates to help you easily get started in setting activities and advisory board work. We have a place to set up and manage our advisory boards. We have a place to run reports on work-based learning activities. And finally, we have the knowledge base, which is not only how to use Seamless, but we're starting to add in training materials and additional supports, such as quality standards for advisory boards, a rubric for partnership development, things like that. And we'll continue to add resources to that area. So we'll dive into a few of these areas just so you can see how they work. We'll start with the employer search. And to do that, we'll switch back over to the administrator console because it's your administrator who's going to enter information on businesses that are looking to work with students and educators. So we'll go to the employer directory. You can see here we have a list of businesses that are open to working with new educators. And as with just about every area in Seamless, you see that the columns are sortable with these little arrows to the right of each column. We can search by various criteria. Suppose we just wanted to look at the businesses in the architecture and construction career cluster. We can do that. And we'll take a look at one of the businesses that we have listed here. Okay, so you can see we have basic information on this company, including their career cluster. If we want to upload a document, maybe a company brochure or a flyer, we can do that. We have a place to identify the primary contact for new work-based learning inquiries, and a place to add some additional information on the company. There's a second tab at the top of the page. See, we're looking at the employer details here. We're going to switch over to the list of opportunities, and this is where we'll be able to show the types of things that this company is willing to do. So maybe they want to come in as guest speaker, host site visits, participate in panels or mock interviews, and offer job shadow opportunities. You can see off to the right, we have a place for them to say what specifically it is that they're willing to do or what limitations they have. So they can offer site visits, but they can only do it on Mondays and Fridays, for example. I mentioned that we have an expansion coming in August, and this is a really good example of this because right now, your school administrators are the only ones who can see this information. Starting in August, we'll be able to send a link out to all of your employers here so they can log in for themselves and manage this as they see fit. So say you've got a company that is willing to take interns in the spring but not in the fall. They can scroll down, select the internship button, say what it is that they're looking for. Once they find their intern, they can come back and turn this off so they don't show up in those searches anymore. All right, so we'll switch back over to the educator console so we can see what this looks like from an educator's point of view. And so here I am as an educator. I'm looking for new partners. Click the employer search button. I can see a whole list of companies that have indicated an interest in working with my school. And I'll just take a look at AZ Electric just to see how that same information looks to an educator. So you can see we've got the contact information, location, industry sector. Here's a document that I can download to learn more. My primary work-based learning contact, phone number and email address. And at the bottom, the list of opportunities that the company had specified that they're willing to do. So it's very easy for me to see exactly what this company is willing to do and what the criteria are for working with them. So with that, I'm going to switch over to the My Partners area. And just to be clear on the difference between these two, the employer search is a place where companies can be listed for every educator in the school to search. It's a public area for every educator who has an account. My Partners is a place where I, as an individual educator, can manage my own personal list of partners. No one else can see this information, but I do have tools to share it out if I want to, and I'll show you those in a second. So again, sortable columns, searchable areas by various criteria. We'll just take a look at Plum Good. So you can see it's sort of like the employer search area. We've got a place to put information on the employer. I can list multiple contacts with a company. I may work with several people there. I want to have a separate listing for each. And I mentioned having tools to share this out with others if I choose. You can see I've got a Share with Educators button, and I can identify which educators that I want to share this record with. And I've got a list or a link to post this to the school-wide employer search area, which sends this record to my administrator to post to that area. So suppose that I want to see what it is that I'm doing with Plum Good. Well, I've got a separate tab here, the list of partnership activities. I can click that, and I can see all of the work-based learning initiatives set up with Plum Good. If I go back, and I want to see individually what I'm doing with one of the employees, I'll look at Emily Moore, the president. I click into her record. I can see her contact information. I can see the advisory boards that she serves on with her role and when her term expires. And I can look at her personal list of activities, the things that she personally is doing with me and my students. So we'll look next at the partner activities, where I set up and manage my work-based learning activities. And you can see I've got several in various stages. Some are tentative, some are active, some are complete. And we'll just take a look at the guest speaking on entrepreneurship. And so this is another area where we're seeing a major expansion in August, because right now we can set up activities to accommodate pretty much any type of work-based learning, everything from guest speakers up through apprenticeships. But the educator is the only one who can see this record. Starting in August, we're adding an industry portal and a student portal. So you'll be able to invite students and business partners to each activity. And that way they can log in, they can see information on the activity, and they can upload documents. So say that you set up an internship, you can invite the student who's interning and the employer. They can each log in, see basic information, whatever you want them to be able to see. And your student can upload a signed training agreement. They can upload timesheets, self-evaluations. Your industry partner can log in and post evaluations of the student. Of course, neither one can see what the other is posting. And with those sorts of links, you'll be able to run reports on student activity. So at the end of the school year or at the end of a student's academic career, if you want to see what they've done in work-based learning, you'll be able to easily run reports detailing every activity in which they've participated. And that's coming in August. But for now, we'll just look at this as a guest speaker opportunity. You can see that we share information on the activity, the start date and time, the end date and time, location of the activity. We have a place at the bottom to put some basic information on what the activity is. And the reason that we're sharing a description of the activity, the objectives of the activity, which students we're working with, is because we're going to send this as an invitation to our business partner. So when they see this, they'll get all the details on what it is that they're being invited to do. There's a confirm button and a decline button, so you'll get confirmation that they're going to participate in the activity. If we scroll back up to the top, we can see where we invite partners, and it's very easy. You just start to type in somebody's name. They show up, and we can add them. See that we have a place to include a calendar invitation to the email that goes out, so they can put this on their calendar. We can send them a follow-up survey, basically a script asking what we could do better, were they happy with the activity, what would you like to do next, those sorts of questions. And we can send documents to the partner, so that can be anything from directions to the school to an evaluation form. You can see here that we're sending a tip sheet on how to be a good guest speaker. And that's a good segue to look at the general resources section. So what I personally think is one of the great features of Seamless is we offer templates and other resources to help you easily set up and manage all of your advisory board and work-based learning activities. So you can see we've got close to 50 templates in here now. We're going to continue to add templates as we go through the summer. When we take a look just at our advisory board templates. And so here you can see we have 18 different templates for advisory board setup and management. So say that I'm starting a new advisory board and I need bylaws. Well, I've got 4 different templates for bylaws here. So I can sort of just mix and match, choose the one that best suits what I'm trying to accomplish. We'll just open one of these up and take a look. All right, and so you can see we have a complete template for advisory board bylaws and constitution. And as an educator, I can use this. I can delete sections, I can add sections, I can change wording, customize it to my program, put it on my letterhead. This is my template to use. And if I don't like this one, I've got 3 others to choose from. If I go back and suppose that I'm trying to set up a job shadow activity. Search for the job shadow templates, and you can see that I've got student evaluation form for employers. I've got questions that students can ask during their job shadow. I've got a self-evaluation form for students, thank you template, and a tip sheet for employers hosting a job shadow experience. We'll just take a look at the questions students can ask during a job shadow experience. And so here, again, this is just a starting point for me as an educator. I can delete questions, add questions, put it on my letterhead, share it, do what I want with it. These are my templates to use. All right, so next, we'll take a look at the advisory board area. You can see that an educator can have multiple advisory boards. We'll just take a look at our skilled trades advisory board. All right, and so you can see we've got all of our members. We've got their contact information, when their term expires, the type of member they are, and this is employer, chamber of commerce, community member, parent, student, administrator, educator, and so on. And we've got their role on the advisory board. If I look at the meetings, I can go to the board activity, and I'll just take a look here at the spring meeting that I've got set up. And so you can see I've got the date of the meeting, time, the type of meeting, board meeting, executive board, planning meeting, that sort of thing. And I can decide who it is that I'm going to invite. I can invite the entire board. If I only want to invite those with a leadership position, I can do that. And I can pick and choose just who it is that I'm going to send this to. I've got information on where the meeting is going to be held, and I can upload an agenda and any documents I want people to see prior to the meeting. When the meeting is over, I come back in and I can upload my minutes and my sign-in sheets. So if you're required to share those out as part of a Perkins audit or state audit or regular district reporting, all of your materials are going to be right here. And like the other areas, we're seeing an expansion here in August. So currently, again, your educator is the only one who can see this. Starting in August, we'll be able to invite your advisory board members so they can log in, see upcoming meetings, see historic documents, and that sort of thing. We'll also have the capacity for task forces and subcommittees here as well. So the last thing we'll look at today is the reports area. And as an educator looking at my own personal work-based learning activity, I've got 2 reports I can look at. Got an educator activity report, which is just sort of a general list of all my initiatives. Of course, I can search by various criteria. I just want to see the guest speakers. If I want to print this, there's a print button. I can export this to an Excel file if I want to share it out. Suppose that I want to look at my activity by partner. So I want to see exactly what it is that I've done with each of my industry partners. Well, I can sum up all of their activities, and if I've been good about entering volunteer hours, or if they've been giving me that information, I can easily sum up their volunteer hours here as well. If I go back to the administrator portal, I have an additional report here, the school activity report, where I can get a real-time snapshot of what all of my educators are doing. And if I'm sitting in a district office, I can run this report school by school. I can get a real-time snapshot of work-based learning across my district or ESA area or my state, whatever my service area is. I can get real-time data on work-based learning. All right, so I'm going to go back to the slides. We can certainly jump back here if people have particular questions and want to see something in more detail. So the question, of course, is the price. We're offering Seamless on an annual subscription basis. It's a school-wide subscription, and the cost is dependent on how many students you have in your school. And it's not just the number of students in work-based learning, it's the entire size of the student body. But you can see here the cost is anywhere from $500 to $1,500 a year, and that's an all-inclusive price. So there's no additional cost for your business partners. Doesn't matter how many educators at your school have accounts, doesn't matter how many activities you have, anything like that. It's an all-inclusive price. Now we've had people ask, I'd like to use this. I handle internships for the 3 schools in my district. I sit at the district office, but I'm the only one who would be using this. Do I have to buy a license for every single one of my schools? And the answer is no. If you're the only person who's going to be logging in, we have a single user cost of $500 a year. Finally, if you're sitting at a district level or a regional initiative or a State Department of Education, we do have discounts for multiple sites, and you do have that reporting opportunity across your service area. The cost obviously is going to vary by how many schools you have, how many students per school. We do offer discounts for multiple sites. So just get in touch with me and share details on your service area, and we can get you a quote. Starting towards the end of this year, and here I'm talking about probably November, December 2019, something like that, we will start to be able to offer customization opportunities. So maybe you don't work by career clusters, you work by pathways. We can customize that menu for you. We may be able to set up a custom portal for login, change the logo, things like that. We're still fleshing out the customization opportunities, but they will be there towards the very end of this year. So in terms of what happens next, we'll be emailing out information after this walkthrough. I would encourage you to visit seamlesswbl.com for information. I'm actually going to go there just to highlight a couple of things on the website that will be helpful to you. So you can see we're here at seamlesswbl.com. I would direct you to the Features tab, which will show you line by line exactly what features Seamless offers in every area. So you can see currently what Seamless offers and what additional features are coming in August 2019, and that's for every single area of the resource. So a very detailed listing of what this application does for you. If you go to the pricing page, you can see information on the school level pricing, links to the individual pricing, and my contact information for multi-site quotes. If you're ordering online, and we accept credit cards, we accept purchase orders, we accept checks. If you're ordering online, you'll want to be aware of the discount codes, which are here at the bottom of the pricing page. And if you go to the Buy Now page, you'll get information on how to order by purchase order or check. So we are going into a question and answer period now. You can contact me with any questions after this session or more detailed discussions. My contact information is here, and I'll also post it to a slide that's coming up just a second, and I'll just leave it up. So if you have questions, go ahead and put those in the questions window. I'm just going to advance so you can see my contact information and write that down as you need it.